Cast off a loop for Annie Henry, Emma Eisbister, Alice Johnston. 1 year the whole of Scalwa had snow, nae flittins until the beautiful summer came. Annie's father cut her a belt to mak fae. Emma is casting off a loop, starting again for the beginning. Alice heads patrons in the mind. There's naebody nuts like this. Yon's a dying art. It's terrible sad. Spread it back, set the light, set so triangles come in the middle. A scallop, the new shell. A wave, the old shell, and yon's a rose leaf. Knitting belts worn, wires at an angle. Women must hae a free hand for other work. In the stour of the past they have kishes full of pits on their backs. Still they're makin'. Shuddering buckets of water, making the tea. The work goes on by the fire. Women are nothing but working, underpaid, lang working, living into hard times, living through better times. Houses are spotless and open. Tables abundant for strangers who come through the gate. Auld wives can share everyone a thing or two in this life, a thing or two in this making. If there's mair loops than should be a wave, if the knitting's no right, it's ony an eyesore. Tak it back. Spread it back. Annie never changes her tongue, even for a lass afore she was a seed. Her hands are skitting the wires this morning, and noo she's spreading it back.
A World is for Witnessing, of shows by First Net and Shetland Ice. Hard workers shaping first for marketplace and folk elsewhere, to recatch the life from last October seas. Brisk workers who must make the most of morning, nourish people dwelling beyond oceans and ridge, islands away. Fix the task, light of our sun propels.
Scallop Workers 1 for Kevin, Andrea, Frank, Ludmilla. From one boat comes in 2,600 scallops, 100 a bag. A short day, sometimes there are 5,000. The strongest man is lifting. Shells pour onto steel table. Water curls off the shelf. Workers keep concentration between themselves. 2 men's knives into shells, click-clack. Each other kiss, click-clack. Flung into floor sack, and each scallop skimmed over for the trim 2 women complete. 9:05, time to phone up for the buns to Vicky, Vera or Kathy at the kiln. Back to click-clack, a rhythm, a preparation, skim and trim, ready speed, each worker in intensity and knowledge and the skill. All hands race, flurry across shell, scallop, air. What an artist is present today, wanting to reveal the work. Her synchronised piss, proven on sketch paper, shows everyone industrial, not apart. 10:30, everybody goes slightly quicker. Popmasters on Radio 2. Speed as everybody draws this morning's scene. Same detail of probing. Into shell, into scallop, around the line of people, no need to be told when to stop. The work is all dependent on weight, quantity, volume by a table, the catch to be done.
Patterns of a Life. In memory of Harry Williamson. The day is a pattern for everything. For myself, this is a different way of life. A deep sea fisherman, starting off as a cook, like a' the young boys. And so it went, a set of lines on ship, a set of lines on shore. So it went. Women mind the nets, women bait the lines, bait the hooks, 700 hooks. And in winter, I baited the hooks. Sometimes I didna get off for the water. A different way of life altogether. people following the hearn, down to Scotland, north to England, Lowestoft. Men following, and women too. For myself, this is a different life.
Weather far more for Lillian and Sheila. Imprints of weather you could see before you can speak. You would hear the weather when the men were lying away and be worried for them. Weather was raising up. Husbands were shipwrecked. Something must give way to the worry, the listening, the necessary watch.
Shoeless woman mine worker. The museum opens. Another day at Gever Tin Mine. World Heritage. In the past, women work here under the tag Bell Maidens. A few begin to tell of their living. Others are lost from the records. Women who last a few years at the surface of the mine in ore dressing work, stone breaking, gut breaking work, from the darkness work. At the picking belt, lifting granite, attending shaking tables, signing everyday meanings through water and spar. Decades of crushing, stamping, buddling to sever particles, quickening if barefoot, years of barrows, brooms, shovels, washing waste from ore out of laborious workings. Winter, spring, summer, autumn, wet earthwork, and one Bal maiden is ending work, leaves her shoes, dried out, now in Gever's glass shelf, all that's left of her. No personal name to wave, no happy report to share, except her working shoes, a proud account, an unwritten obituary of women's presence, enduring in our separate yet touching lives.
Grizzly Man. My mother said, don't you ever go for Gever for work. All her brothers worked in the mine. They looked ill, all of them. Yet did I notice her then? Not really. Some days good, some days bearable. Some days you can't wait until the end of it, coming to work for the banter as much as for the pay. In the beginning, the first contract, I'm a grizzly man. 2 years on the incline. Hard work. Rock broke by hand. Hard going. I broke the rock. Didn't lose track too far. Didn't fall out with people. Everyone chipped in. Everyone knew the system. The value of work and understanding. And I recall if Peter, the old digger, said, don't move off the plank. They don't move off the plank. Peter knew how the ground moved. Declined far deeper below ground, forced the air down, and at the farthest point under the sea, you wouldn't hear the ocean, not a sound. Force the air, drill and blast, 90 foot up, a long way. Drill and blast, pins in. If the granite does not break clear, you're in limbo. Duds would be useless. So ask permission to fire off around. After the closure, some miners lost their houses. Some miners were Italians. Some miners were Polish, been here since the war. Where would they be going to? Some days bearable, some days good. I have broken ground in here, even though my mother said, don't you ever.
Into Old Men's Working, West Penwith. Through this instrumental route and long-standing tunnels, the thoughts are welling up. Is there something I need to forget? What about emptiness, loneliness, of having to swallow being alone? What about times of withholding from shyness a word that would have opened a new world of intimacies, sincerities, a strength of that source necessary to split one stone open in the hand and find unknown intricacies, the unfallen dust, the dust of life, holding a constancy of itself, coming far from the icy rich realm, the inmost runnels of the self, a receptive body, balancing each attribute like veins. What do they hold this close beside the search of seen and heard? When do I need to let go and free the echoes in them? Don't falter. If there's a rope to hand, use it and go downward, moving among darknesses so easily, so exactly. And when there's no rope left, no rails or nail, then the only companion is a guide, tapping the light in my head when a slight beam fails.
There are trails within this place to be lit, already light, and in myself, traces of the untold, unborn, the immeasurables and the penetrables, the evolved and effective brawls, the impondered, unlimited, and the wondered. I should grind in through the slime and put a tall candle nearer to a wall to see the rock when the guide leaves from the dark, calling, "Don't come through here." My path is independent, no halting, no fear of advancing to a possible ending, and the task is to press onward, as appointed to the last, zigzagging, headlong, recurring inwardly, this path at the core of invocation that may have been imagined for us all along. The momentous fall, the passing on, the concentration of a single life.
In memory of the men who lost their lives in the Levant mine disaster, 1919. A fresh day, the MAN engines collapsing, taking the lives of 31 miners. Henry Andrews, John T. Angwin, Peter Branwell, Thomas Branwell, S.J. Brewer. 20th of October 1919. The MAN engines failing, killing the 31 sons and fathers. George H. Eddy, John Ellis, William Henry Ellis, W.J. George, John Grenfell. Remember words they might have spoken. "I'll be seeing you after the shift," these 31 men. William J. Harvey, Ben Hocking, W.J. Hocking, John Kevern, James Maddern. A long shift and daylight unreachable now by the 31 men who are dead underground. Matthew E. Matthews, Nicholas J. Matthews, William J. Murley, Matthew Newton, James H. Oates. They knew what their work was for, the 31 men who were ready for home. Samson Osborne, Eddie F. Pascoe, Tom Rowe, Leonard Semmons, Nicholas H. Thomas. Recall they were needed to clock out the 31 miners who did not survive. John Tonkin, Edwin T. Trathen, William Henry Jagir, J. Vingotran Bath, William E. Waters, John Wern. The day the great MAN engine collapses, not one of the 31 men live. All we can do, learn the names, distinguish each man.
To the lighthouse keeper. If storm waves are reaching the lighthouse, listen to the voice of a keeper shouting, "See!" and rapidly grip the rail outside. Hold on, it's too early for the parting of the ways yet. As your powerful hands are saving you, do you think of the longings you left inland? Do you remember buds or breeze or silences between old friendships and the loved ones? When you know you have to bend boundaries of ocean and go beyond certainty, unflinching even when salty windows must be sealed and the beating storm like a heart reveals.